John, welcome to Behind the Bricks. Great to have you here. And
can you be in front of the bricks too?
yeah, we should be. Well, we're sitting here in world headquarters for Red Apple Group, and I thought I would just start off. You've had over the past 10 years some of the biggest developments in Brooklyn. On Myrtle Avenue, Fort Greene. Can we talk a little bit about what's happening in Coney Island?
Coney Island has been my vision, but I really started on Myrtle Avenue in Brooklyn. I was one of the first ones to invest money, and I went to Brooklyn Tech High School,
right,
which is only 5 city blocks from me.
Right.
And I bought that property 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a rough neighborhood. Rough.
Yeah.
I mean, the joke you tell is the people we sent to collect the rent had to go with 2 guns just in case the first gun ran out of bullets.
Of course.
And it's a joke, but it was really tough neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But with Rudy Giuliani being mayor, and then Mike Bloomberg coming in afterwards, and upzoning the properties in that area, it became a mecca.
Yeah.
And what happens is in a mecca is, like, I lived in Manhattan. I grew up in the Harlem,
right.
Then the Upper West Side.
You grew up on 135th Street. Right?
135th Street,
Yeah.
Spanish Harlem.
Yeah.
And what happens is when Lincoln Center was built in the late 60s, early 70s, and it created its own mecca where buildings around it starting to be built. I remember Paul Milstein, he was one of my mentors. I lived in his building. And we used to sit there. He had an office in the basement, and we used to sit there and talk for hours. And I really appreciated the talks we had. Part of my success is I had a lot of mentors.
Can I stop you there? When you think of those talks, what type of things was he saying to you that really resonated?
Well, it's just about a business, about life. Things that a normal kid, don't forget, at that point, Paul Milstein was probably, worth a couple $100 million, which was a lot of money at that time.
And you were how old?
And I moved in. I had 3 or 4 supermarkets. I moved into his apartment building, apartment 42P. You could see the whole world from up there. And I was paying the highest rent anybody was paying, $728 a month. Right. My God, people said to me, how can you afford to pay that much?
Right, yeah.
And don't forget, my father came, and I came, and I ended up with my father, from 135th Street, where we had 3 bedrooms, and we were paying $48 a month.
Yeah.
So it was a sticker shock.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say, Lincoln Center became the mecca for that whole area. And what happened in Brooklyn with Metrotech, that created the same mecca for that area.
Right.
And because of my discussions with Paul Milstein and my experience in Lincoln Center in New York, I saw that.
Yeah.
And I was prepared to build the entire thing at the same time.
Right.
And then I just got the pulse. One of my successes, I have I listened to, I had a lot of mentors, but the second part of my success is I have a pulse. And when something is not going to happen right, I get a warning sign.
Yeah.
So when we were going to build the entire one big gigantic building.
Right.
And then 2008, 2009 happened, and I remember meeting with the architects, and I said, guys, the atmosphere is not good.
Right.
For the same reason, I'm concerned about the atmosphere right now. And if Jerome Powell decides that, oh, the right thing to do is to keep raising interest rates. I think that will create a negative attitude towards real estate.
Right.
So I'll take your next question.
Yeah. So, all right, Paul. So we're going to pick up right here. So I want to stop you there because you talked about I get a feeling or I get a sense that I shouldn't move forward on that. Now I hear, is that something where it's more analytical, or is it something that's coming from your gut? Like, how do you know when you get those? I hear this a lot from successful entrepreneurs. That they get, one of the ways
Inner feelings.
Yeah.
Inner feelings and vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I make jokes about it in this room about real estate. And you look at a building and you say, that building was built by accountants,
Right.
versus
Yes.
that building was built by missionaries.
There's no heart.
Or visionaries, that they believed and they wanted vision.
Right. There's no feeling.
And the great joke I tell is I was ashamed when I was going to NYU. I was ashamed to tell the girls at NYU that I lived on 135th Street.
Yeah.
They were all ritzy Scarsdale types. And so I made up a story that I lived at 200 Central Park South, because that was the wow building of that particular time. And until this one girl says, I checked with the doorman, he says he doesn't know you.
Yeah, so you get checked up on it, right? So you've talked before about one of your greatest skills at this point in your career is being a problem solver.
I believe I am a great problem solver. I believe in putting people together in the same room, across the same table, and I could solve problems.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell the story? I mean, there's one problem that you solved pretty well, which was I think you were driving by one of your markets and there was a robbery going on.
Oh my God, that's I was a young whippersnapper. I was 33, 34 years old, and I was driving by around Christmas time.
Where was the market?
84th and York Avenue.
Okay, so
There's a nice apartment building there.
Upper East Side.
But before that, it was a one-story building,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a supermarket. And I drive by, and there's three big guys holding up my store. And I have a legal carry permit for my gun, and I said,
So
I was stupid.
So can I stop? You're driving by and you look out the car window and you see
Three people holding up the store.
with their own guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
With big shotguns or something. I get out of the car, double park my car, get out of the car. It was right around the corner, and I go to the corner, I take my gun out, and here comes the three guys. And the first guy goes by, he says, "Be cool, man." The second guy goes by, he says, "Be cool, man." The third guy goes by, I interlock my arm, and the guy must have been 6'9", 400 pounds,
Right.
interlock my arm with him, put the gun to his head. I said, "Move and I'll blow your head off." He drops the sawed-off shotgun, drops to the ground, and I'm standing there with the gun over his head. And you know who the first person on the scene was? It was, he's now Deputy Commissioner in charge of terrorism. And he was a reporter for one of the newspapers, Daily News maybe.
So one of the reporters.
John Miller.
So one of the
And he tells that story.
Wow.
And the fact that, and I captured the guy. And then within minutes, I don't know, the police come, etc.
Yeah. What happened to the other two guys?
And then, well, they eventually got captured because I captured the one guy. So the sergeant comes over and says, "You have a license for that gun?" I said, "Of course." And he looks at the gun and says, "Sir, you know your safety is on." So I could never captured. So the sweat started
coming down, right?
And my James Bond PPKS gun
Right.
was a great gun. It was very flat, very easy to carry, but
Yeah. Well, it did the
it
job.
did have a safety.
It did the job even without.
But I love stories like that, and that's part of New York City.
Right. Yeah.
should I have done that? Probably not.
Right.
But like you said, when you're stupid, you're young and you're foolish and you're stupid.
Right, well,
I became a jet pilot, and one of the things I was taught as a jet pilot is there are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are no old, bold pilots.
Yeah.
So you learn how to be a little bit more conservative
Right.
in that aspect.
I was reading, you were talking about your experience with Capital Airlines, and on the back end of that experience, I think you described it, you went through a kind of a depressed time as you trying to kind of
Well,
regroup.
I went down, I started the company that became NetJets. We
Right.
eventually had 800 airplanes.
Right.
So I started the company with one jet, and it happened to be Roy Disney's. And I remember the tail number of the plane, 44RD, November 44RD, RD standing for Roy Disney. And I was a grocery man. I had a few, some real estate, and I said to my pilot, Jim Jacobs, I said, we got to find a way to make a living in this thing because it's expensive. And all of a sudden, I got an idea. See, I believe in creating. I create things. And I said, Atlantic City just opened up. They bring in all the suckers, customers from Manhattan, New Jersey by limousine.
Yeah.
But how do you bring them in from Connecticut? We made a deal with the Sands Hotel at that time to fly him in by jet, make the customer feel like he's a jet setter. And we made a deal, a small price with the casino.
Right.
Bring in the guy for dinner, playing, etc., and then bring him back home.
Right.
And we started one jet, and we built that company up to 48 jets.
Were you just going right to Westchester Airport?
No, we were flying all over the place. Pennsylvania, Westchester, Long Island, everywhere where a limousine can bring people to New York.
And was that part of the genesis that eventually spun off and became
And
NetJets?
we sold those 48 jets, that company, to Santulli, the Goldman Sachs guy. My pilot, Jim Jacobs, stayed with him. And they eventually sold it to Warren Buffett and built it up to 800 airplanes, which became NetJets. And I am a creator. I like to create things. And I do that every day. And I try to pick people that will take the creations and maintain them and moving on up on that. But you tell me, one story I'm very proud of that Senator Schumer will very right after Hurricane, no, it wasn't a hurricane, Sally, was it?
Sandy.
Sandy.
Yeah, Superstorm. Sandy.
We were in trouble. The Congress was not going to pass the money for New York City.
Right.
And I was called, it was 18 of us. I was called into Governor Cuomo's office. And I was there with Republicans, a few Republicans. And they didn't know where I was. I was a Democrat, I was a Republican.
Right.
I believe in being a New Yorker. I believe in being an American, more so than being a Republican or Democrat or independent.
Yeah, you see.
I've always done that.
When you say that, I feel like a lot of people have this, this viewpoint today, which is, you couldn't define anyone by being in one or the other party because, conditions.
Well, Senator Schumer was there, Governor Cuomo was there, Congressman Peter King, a few other congressmen. There was about 15 or 16 of us there. And at that particular time, my daughter married a Republican. He married President Nixon's grandson, who was a fine kid, a real fine kid. And so I was doing a few Republican things, even though before that, I was a Bill Clinton Democrat, because I love Bill Clinton.
Right.
And still do it. Still give my left hand to Bill Clinton. And Senator Schumer says to me, we need your help. That the Senate, we need 6 Republican votes in the Senate to get Sandy money to the public. So they gave me the assignment out of all those people in that room to see if I could get it done. And I went to see Senator McConnell, who was the majority leader at the time. And
Where did you go to see him?
in Washington. And I talked to him. And the senator is a very religious man.
Yeah.
And it was actually 2 weeks before Christmas.
Did he know you were calling ahead to make the
Yes, he
meeting?
knew me.
So this was all set up for you?
It was a meeting was I asked for the meeting and he gave it to me.
obliged, yeah.
And I said to him, Senator, you're a religious man. It's 2 weeks before Christmas. The people in New York City are suffering. I say, New York City people, whether you like it or you don't like it, they always help all Americans. They're always there to help Americans. And by the end of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, he had tears in his eyes, and I had tears in my eyes. And guess what? He gave me the 6 votes. And that's how New York City got their money from Washington. Senator Schumer will verify that. And I was proud to do something like that. And that's doing things like that. And I have a dozen stories like that because I was sent on special assignments by President Clinton to do certain missions. And I was proud of that.
And when you think of those that Clinton asked you to do, what's one that comes to mind?
I'll give you one particular one. I was having dinner with him on a Friday night. I said, by the way, I'm going to Greece on Sunday. He thought about it and said, I need you to do me a favor. I said, okay, Mr. President, I will do you a favor. He says, I want you to go see the Prime Minister. And I want you to ask him a favor personally from me. Okay, Mr. President, what would you like me to do?
You're almost becoming a de facto ambassador at this point.
Well, I don't believe he trusted his own State Department. Because you know how presidents and State Departments are. The State Department thinks they know better.
Right.
I've sent on several missions. That I'm telling you a particular one that I'm proud of. I said, what happened, Mr. President? I said that Greece has Turkey has had an earthquake, Istanbul.
Yeah.
Well, my mother was born in Constantinople.
Okay, right. Yeah.
And Greece has vetoed the 250 million euros in relief for Turkey. And
He wants to get that done.
I need to get it done. I said, Mr. President, I will take that. I flew Sunday night to Greece.
Yeah.
And I went to see the Prime Minister.
Had you met the Prime Minister before?
They knew who I was. I'm a theoretically famous guy in Greece.
Right. Yeah. Are you?
And
are
I
you
said to him,
when you meet him, are you speaking Greek?
half and half.
Right.
You know, I learned Greek. It was my first language.
Yeah.
English was my second language. I came here 6 months old when my parents only spoke Greek.
And you spoke Greek.
So I speak street Greek.
Okay. Yes.
You know, like
Street Greek. Yeah.
no, not university Greek. And I would, I said, I've been sent here by President Clinton to ask you for a personal favor. And George Papandreou, who was Prime Minister Silitis, and George Papandreou was the foreign minister at the time, was in the room. I said, President Clinton would like you to release that money for Istanbul. And they looked at each other. George Papandreou, and they talked. They released the money. So the money was released to help all the victims of the earthquake in Istanbul. And it was a wonderful thing. And I called the president. I used to get through the president right away. I called the White House. They found him for me.
Yeah, you got it.
I said, mission accomplished,
Yeah.
Mr. President.
That's great. All right, so I wanted to bring us back. Talk to me about Coney Island and the vision there and what you guys are currently doing.
Wow, we're going from Lincoln Center to Brooklyn to Coney Island.
Yeah.
We bought this property a while back, and I had a vision. Now, if you go to Coney Island on a sunny day and you look out on the ocean, you fall in love. And then you complete that with going to Nathan's for a few Frankfurters, you really fall in love. And
And how many parcels do you have there?
we have enough to build about 5 buildings.
Got it.
And we've built 2 of them already. We're going to be putting out for rent those 425 apartments in the spring. And I fell in love. And when I fall in love, I believe other people fall in love.
So what do you think you
When
were...
you go on, and almost every apartment will have an ocean view, and open up those ocean doors, and you step out on the balcony, and you breathe in that air. Guaranteed, almost guaranteed, you're going to live 10 years longer. But it does feel good, and I saw that vision. And you know what's happened? And people have said this to me. When Catsimatidis started investing in Coney Island, everybody else started investing in Coney Island. So now there's droves of investors heading to Coney Island.
Right, yeah, you're like a prime mover. So to get this really to take hold, there's got to be some big obstacles that you have to go through. What are the biggest challenges?
Well, we're also building in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Okay.
And
But I mean, you got to get there. You got to get to Coney Island. You've got to deal with services, transportation. What are the biggest obstacles?
first of all, you got to deal with the city, the building departments, the permits, and I brought up St. Petersburg because we met with the mayor of St. Petersburg. He says, "What would you like? We'll get you all your permits in 3 months. If 3 months is too long, we'll get it to you in 2 months."
Right.
Well, versus dealing with all the departments in the city, it takes longer.
Yeah, you're talking
And
about
there are costs involved and waiting.
just the difficulty of doing
The
business. in New York.
difficulty of doing business in New York. And I think whether it's the mayor or the governor, they should get the commissioner of cutting red tape. And with a big pair of scissors and say, we're people that want to spend money in New York City, whether it's in Coney Island or Rockaway or Myrtle Avenue, that the commissioner of cutting red tape will just cut it and make things happen faster and for the benefit of New York City workers, for New York City consumers, for everybody's benefit.
Yeah, I've had other multifamily owners who invest a lot in New York and then also invest in other markets around the country say this exact same thing to me. They say, I'm going to spend 50, 60, 75 million in New York. It's difficult. I have this. I go to other markets and the business climate is they're so happy that you're going to come and deploy that much capital out in those markets.
Absolutely. And
And
New York is getting a little bit better. But there should be a commissioner of red tape cutting.
dovetailing on that, if you were mayor, what would be one, two, three things that you would change?
I'm going to get a deputy mayor in charge of red tape cutting.
Yeah, get that position.
Get that position.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important because I think New York City is the capital of the world. I love New York. I'll always be a New Yorker. I like Long Island on weekends. I like Florida on winter weekends. But New York is the capital of the world. And I think billions and billions and additional dollars could be invested in New York in a short time period.
Yeah, that's great. we've talked a little bit about it here, but your businesses are, grocery, energy, aviation, insurance, all these other, operating businesses. When you look at them all from a high level, is the long-term ownership of well-located real estate the most profitable?
Well, you know why the first name of real estate is real?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is real. And having an investment in New York City real estate is a great investment for any American, any New Yorker.
Mm-hmm. And would you look back at that? I mean, when you look at all your holdings, would real estate kind of be your favorite? Or do you like the operating businesses more?
The operating businesses have their own sex appeal.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the oil refining business, we're in the heating oil business, we're the building business,
right.
the grocery business.
Right.
But real estate business for my kids, I think, who are going to be heirs to the throne,
Mm-hmm.
Like that a great deal.
Right. There's a permanence to it that it seems like you're
And it's real.
referring. Yeah, right. You can't go anywhere, right? So, what advice would you give to someone today, who would be growing? There are people who are listening to this who are looking for ideas of how to make it. And if you were going back and giving yourself advice, you grew up in an impoverished neighborhood. What advice would you give to a young person?
I would say
today?
drive around on a weekend, on a nice day, and look at things and visualize. Visualize what it's going to be like in 5 years from now or 10 years from now. Because the value comes from being able to visualize future value.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the rules I followed was transit-oriented development. In other words, if the city upzones an area where there's already a subway system, you can't replace the subway system. The subway system is $1 trillion
Right.
to replace it. And you build an apartment building near a subway station.
Right.
Guess what? Those people can go anywhere in the 4 boroughs. I'd love to say 5.
Right. Yeah.
And if I would have been mayor, there would have been transit going to the 5th borough.
Staten Island would be back. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Staten Island would be back. One of my favorite boroughs.
Yeah.
But be able transportation is very important,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to visualize investment.
Yeah, well, this is something that comes up over and over with the real estate investors and some of the other businesses. They say it's basically being able to envision or see future value today where others don't.
And that's part of winning.
Yeah.
Now, if I bought a building in Boise, Idaho for $1 million, and it was a great deal, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it'll be worth $1,010,000. You buy a building in New York for $1 million, 10 years from now, it could be worth anywhere from $2 to $5 million.
Right.
So that's the difference.
The appreciation.
Investing in New York or investing in parts of Florida, etc.
Yeah.
Or Washington, D.C. You know why Washington, D.C.?
Why?
They never run out of money in Washington, D.C.
Yes, that's
They got
right.
the printing press
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it keeps coming. Well, yes, appreciation in New York City. That's, I think, a good place for us to end off.
Well, it was a pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to come on your show.
Yeah, really appreciate it, Ron, and thanks for coming behind the bricks.
God bless.